What's going on, Jerome's? So I am headed to an undisclosed location for the rest of this week. Yeah, we're really good at planning trips as the Minnesota Vikings are there for mandatory minicamp. But it is what it is, and we're doing some content ahead of time. But we're also going to intersplice some hashtag content in from the undisclosed location because that's how we do. Got to stay on the grind for the Jeromes. So if you see us back in the home base randomly, don't worry about it. So we're going to go through and preview the Vikings 90-man rooster position by position. First video is going to be about the quarterback. So Kirkua Jerome Ezekiel Cousins signed his 1 year, $35 million extension. He's going to be the quarterback this year. He's probably going to be the quarterback next year. And Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell have hitched their wagons to employee number 8. Now, Kirk Cousins, he is much maligned. He is a lightning rod. He is very divisive for his play on the field. But I think that this is obviously the best situation that he's going to be in his 5 years here with the Vikings. He's gone through 5 different OCs, and now he's going to be free of the Zimmer Kubiak run, pass, punt type offense. And hooking back up with Kevin O'Connell, who he had a couple seasons with in Washington. O'Connell and Wes Phillips with the Rams did great things. They won a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford last season. And I think that everything is coming up Millhouse for Kirk Cousins. The offensive line, especially the interior offensive line, is probably going to be the best in the last 5 seasons, and Darrisaw and O'Neal, well, O'Neal has already established himself as one of the best right tackles in the game. Darrisaw is up and coming. I think that he'll be a damn solid left tackle. You got Justin friggin' Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the game. You got Dalvin, who's still a top 3 elite running back, and he's going to be used a lot more versatile ways this year. So there's no more excuses for Kirk Cousins. Like, I have never been a Kirk Cousins apologist, but I've never been overly hateful, where I feel like a lot of Vikings fans are just stuck in the rut of just like, hey, we need to blame someone, so let's blame Kirk Cousins. It's hard to get out of that inertia, but Kirk was not the problem last year, man. I mean, the defense was a problem for the last 2 seasons. Kirk probably had his best season as a Viking, probably his best season as a quarterback. I'm not talking about throwing for the most yards or the most touchdowns, but just in terms of solid quarterback play, he was really good. He was really good last year. You could win games with that version of Kirk Cousins and then get the defense shored up. And now, like a mind meld with Kirk and Kevin O'Connell, I think the Vikings will be in a good spot. And then, so you got Sean Mannion. Now, a lot has been made is like, Kirk Cousins like Sean Mannion in the meeting room, and that's the only reason why he's here. It kind of is. It really kind of is. Kyle Sluter even talked about, was like, that's why I lost the job to Sean Mannion, because he's good in that quarterback room. Now, that does help. Sure, just another set of eyes, and someone else is going to be putting in that work with Kirk Cousins in that film room. Yes, it makes sense. But that's what you have coaches for. I mean, why are you burning a roster spot on a guy who just doesn't cut the mustard? Like, I know Sean Mannion, he's a good dude. I'm sure that he tries hard as well, but this dog ain't going to hunt, man. So that's why I'm very hopeful that Kellen Mond in year 2 is going to rise up and take up that quarterback 2 job. And hell, they can keep Sean Mannion on the practice squad. I don't care. But if something, knocking on all the wood, God forbid, happens to Kirk Cousins during the season, I want Kellen Mond to be on the field. I want the Vikings organization to be confident in the pride of Texas A&M versus trotting out Sean Mannion, which we saw what happened in the Green Bay game. And all signs indicate that the new regime love Kellen Mond, because Kwesi could have drafted his own quarterback at any point. Kevin O'Connell could have pushed Kwesi to draft their own quarterback at any point in the draft. I mean, there's tons of quarterback value available when the Vikings were selecting, and they didn't go down that route. So they obviously believe in Kellen Mond in year 2. And Mond just had a weird rookie year. Whether it be COVID stuff, whether it be issues with Zimmer, I don't know. It's pretty clear that he never got a fair shot. So now with a clean slate in year 2 in a very quarterback-friendly offense, I think that Kellen Mond could really impress in training camp as well as in preseason. He is one to watch. Now, Nate Stanley. Now, we like to rip on Nate Stanley a lot here, mainly because he's a stupid Hawkeye, and we're, I don't know, a quasi-Gophers fan, I guess. But, I mean, Nate Stanley does have a big arm, doesn't have a lot of great mobility, but there's a reason why he's hanging out there as well. And it's a sort of a diet version of Kellen Mond. It's clear that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell maybe see a little something, because they easily could have kicked him to the curb. They didn't draft him. They didn't retain him. They didn't have him on their practice squad in previous seasons, but they didn't. Right? So they could easily got a guy like Carson Strong as a UDFA and punted Nate Stanley, or drafted a Sam Howell day 3 or whatever. But they didn't do it. They didn't go down that route. So we'll see what happens with Nate Stanley there. Now, I would love to have a world where Kellen Mond is quarterback 2 as well as the quarterback of the future. Nate Stanley does just enough to be quarterback 3 and as on the practice squad, and Sean Mannion is cut, and then they bring him on as a consultant. Like, hey, you want him in that film room? Just pay him $40,000 a year, as opposed to how much does he make? Probably $1 million in terms of the veteran minimum. Yeah, $1 million, $40,000. Why not? Also, you can tell him to go get coffee. Oh, there you go. But that's it. Let's take a look at the Vikings quarterback depth chart as of right now. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.